Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Atmanirbhar Bharat is a national spirit and not just an economic campaign. In his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat, Prime Minister urges people to start a 100-day campaign for cleaning up water sources and harvest rainwater. Prime Minister requests exam warriors, parents and teachers to share their experiences and tips for this year's Pariksha Pe Charcha in March. Prime Minister asks people to not lower guard against Corona. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination phase to cover senior citizens and people above 45 years with comorbidities begins tomorrow. Today is National Science Day, celebrating the discovery of the Raman effect. Isro successfully launches Brazil's Amazonia 1 satellite along with 18 other passenger satellites. In the USA, Food and Drug Administration formally approves single-shot COVID-19 vaccine. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has emphasized that Atmanirbhar Bharat is a national spirit that makes every citizen of the country take pride and not just an economic campaign. The Prime Minister shared his thoughts with the people of the country and the world in his Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio today. He expressed happiness that the mantra of self-reliant India is reaching the remote villages of the country. Answering a question raised by Ranjan from Kolkata on what it means to be self-reliant, the Prime Minister said the first condition for self-reliance is to have pride in the things of one's own country.
आत्मनिर्भरता की पहली शर्त होती है अपने देश की चीजों पर गर्व होना, अपने देश के लोगों द्वारा बनाई वस्तुओं पर गर्व होना। जब प्रत्येक देशवासी गर्व करता है, प्रत्येक देशवासी जुड़ता है, तो आत्मनिर्भर भारत सिर्फ एक आर्थिक अभियान न रहकर एक नेशनल स्पिरिट बन जाता है। जब आसमान में हम अपने देश में बने फाइटर प्लेन तेजस को कलाबाजियां खाते देखते हैं, जब भारत में बने टैंक, भारत में बनी मिसाइलें हमारा गौरव बढ़ाते हैं, जब समृद्ध देशों में हम मेट्रो ट्रेन के मेड इन इंडिया कोचेज देखते हैं, जब दर्जनों देशों तक मेड इन इंडिया कोरोना वैक्सीन को पहुंचते ही देखते हैं, तो हमारा माथा और ऊंचा हो जाता है। हर क्षेत्र में हमें इस गौरव को बढ़ाना होगा। जब हम इसी सोच के साथ आगे बढ़ेंगे, तभी सही मायने में आत्मनिर्भर बन पाएंगे।
The Prime Minister said it is not just bigger things that will make India self-reliant, but also other fields like textiles, handicraft goods, electronic appliances and mobiles. The Prime Minister cited the example of Santosh from Garhmukteshwar in Uttar Pradesh. When everything came to a halt at the time of Corona lockdown, Santosh and his family began mat making, which was passed down from their ancestors. The Prime Minister expressed delight that people in India are taking up the challenge to be self-reliant in chia seeds too.
आजकल चिया सीड्स का नाम आप लोग बहुत सुनते होंगे। हेल्थ अवेयरनेस से जुड़े लोग इसे काफी महत्व देते हैं और दुनिया में इसकी बड़ी मांग भी है। भारत में इसे ज्यादातर बाहर से मंगाते हैं, लेकिन अब चिया सीड्स में आत्मनिर्भरता का बीड़ा भी लोग उठा रहे हैं। ऐसे ही यूपी के बाराबंकी में हरिश्चंद्र जी ने चिया सीड्स की खेती शुरू की है। चिया सीड्स की खेती उनकी आय भी बढ़ाएगी और आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान में मदद भी करेगी। साथियों, एग्रीकल्चर वेस्ट से वेल्थ क्रिएट करने के भी कई प्रयोग देश भर में सफलतापूर्वक चल रहे हैं।
Mr. Modi said that many experiments of creating wealth from agricultural waste too are being run successfully in the entire country. He highlighted that Murugesan from Madurai made a machine to make ropes from waste of banana. He further said this innovation of Murugesan will not only solve the issues of environment and filth, but also pave the way for additional income for the farmers. The Prime Minister stressed on water conservation. He urged people to start a 100-day campaign for cleaning up water sources and harvest rainwater. Mr. Modi pointed out that just as water is a collective gift of nature, there is a collective accountability too for conserving water.
पानी को लेकर हमें इसी तरह अपनी सामूहिक जिम्मेदारियों को समझना होगा। भारत के ज्यादातर हिस्सों में मई-जून में बारिश शुरू होती है। क्या हम अभी से अपने आसपास के जल स्रोतों की सफाई के लिए, वर्षा जल के संचयन के लिए 100 दिन का कोई अभियान शुरू कर सकते हैं? इसी सोच के साथ अब से कुछ दिन बाद जल शक्ति मंत्रालय द्वारा भी जल शक्ति अभियान कैच द रेन भी शुरू किया जा रहा है। इस अभियान का मूल मंत्र है कैच द रेन वेयर इट फॉल्स व्हेन इट फॉल्स। हम अभी से जुटेंगे, हम पहले से जो रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग सिस्टम है उन्हें दुरुस्त करवा लेंगे, गांवों में, तालाबों में, पोखरों की सफाई करवा लेंगे, जल स्रोतों तक जा रहे पानी के रास्ते की रुकावटें दूर कर लेंगे, तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा वर्षा जल का संचयन कर पाएंगे।
The World Water Day is being celebrated on the 22nd of March every year. The Prime Minister said rainfall begins in May, June in most parts of India, and Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain is being initiated by the Jal Shakti Ministry. He asked people to commit to the task and get existing rainwater harvesting systems repaired, clean up lakes and ponds in villages, and conserve rainwater to the maximum.
On National Science Day, the Prime Minister urged people, and especially the youth, to know, understand and read a lot about the history of science and scientists of India and imbibe the values.
मैं जरूर चाहूंगा कि हमारे युवा भारत के वैज्ञानिक इतिहास को, हमारे वैज्ञानिकों को जाने, समझे और खूब पढ़ें। जब हम साइंस की बात करते हैं तो कई बार इसे लोग फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री या फिर लैब्स तक ही सीमित कर देते हैं, लेकिन साइंस का विस्तार तो इससे कहीं ज्यादा है। और आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान में साइंस की शक्ति का बहुत योगदान भी है। हमें साइंस को लैब टू लैंड के मंत्र के साथ आगे बढ़ाना होगा।
Mr. Modi stated that there is a lot of contribution of the power of science in the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign. He emphasized that the nation has to move science forward with the mantra of lab to land. He cited the example of Chintala Venkat Reddy from Hyderabad, who develops breeds of wheat and rice that specially contained vitamin D. Mr. Modi also mentioned about Urugen Futsog of Ladakh, who is growing about 20 crops organically there. He also lauded Kamraj Chaudhary from Patan district in Gujarat, who has developed good seeds of drumstick at home itself. Mr. Modi talked about a post by Mayur from Gurgaon on the Namo app. Mayur had praised the people of Assam and in particular the people of Kaziranga for the rise in the number of waterfowls. The Kaziranga National Park and the Tiger Reserve Authority has been carrying out its annual waterfowls census for some time.
आपको भी ये जानकर खुशी होगी कि इस बार जल पक्षियों की संख्या पिछले वर्ष की तुलना में करीब 175% ज्यादा आई है। इस सेंसस के दौरान काजीरंगा नेशनल पार्क में बर्ड्स की कुल 112 स्पीशीज को देखा गया है। इनमें से 58 स्पीशीज यूरोप, सेंट्रल एशिया और ईस्ट एशिया सहित दुनिया के विभिन्न हिस्सों से आए विंटर माइग्रेंट्स है। इसका सबसे महत्वपूर्ण कारण यह है कि यहाँ बेहतर वाटर कंजर्वेशन होने के साथ ह्यूमन इंटरफियरेंस बहुत कम है।
The Prime Minister talked about Jadav Payeng of Assam, who received the Padma Award for contributing in raising about 300 hectares of plantations in the Majuli Island. He has been constantly working for forest conservation and is also involved in motivating people for plantation and conservation of biodiversity. Mr. Modi said the temples in Assam are also playing a unique role in the protection of nature. He said every temple has a pond in the vicinity. The Harigriva Madhav Temple at Hajo, the Nag Shankar Temple at Sonitpur, and the Ugratara Temple at Guwahati have many such ponds nearby. The Prime Minister also touched upon the subject of examinations. He said, like every year, this year too, there will be a Pariksha Pe Charcha in March. He requested all exam warriors, parents and teachers to share their experiences and tips on the MyGov platform and the Narendra Modi app.
आने वाले कुछ महीने आप सबके जीवन में विशेष महत्व रखते हैं। अधिकतर युवा साथियों के एग्जाम्स, परीक्षाएं होगी। अब सबको याद है ना, वॉरियर बनना है, वॉरियर नहीं। हंसते हुए एग्जाम देने जाना है और मुस्कुराते हुए लौटना है। किसी और से नहीं, अपने आप से ही स्पर्धा करनी है। पर्याप्त नींद भी लेनी है और टाइम मैनेजमेंट भी करना है। खेलना भी नहीं छोड़ना है, क्योंकि जो खेले वो खिले। रिवीजन और याद करने के स्मार्ट तरीके अपनाने हैं। यानी कुल मिलाकर इन एग्जाम्स में अपने बेस्ट को बाहर लाना है।
Mr. Modi also asked people not to lower guard against corona. He said there should not be any laxity in the rules against corona.
मार्च का महीना हमारे फाइनेंशियल ईयर का आखिरी महीना भी होता है, इसलिए आप में से बहुत से लोगों के लिए काफी व्यस्तता भी रहेगी। अब जिस तरह से देश में आर्थिक गतिविधियां तेज हो रही हैं, उससे हमारे व्यापारी और उद्यमी साथियों की व्यस्तता भी बहुत बढ़ रही है। इन सारे कार्यों के बीच हमें कोरोना से सावधानी कम नहीं करनी है। आप सब स्वस्थ रहेंगे, खुश रहेंगे, कर्तव्य पथ पर डटे रहेंगे तो देश तेजी से आगे बढ़ता रहेगा। आप सभी को त्योहारों की अग्रिम शुभकामनाएं। साथ साथ कोरोना के संबंध में जो भी नियमों का पालन करना है, उसमें कोई ढिलाई नहीं आनी चाहिए।
The Prime Minister was happy to note that Silu Nayak from Arakhuda in Odisha imparts free training to the youth who want to join the army. The name of the organization of Silu Nayak is Mahaguru Battalion. On a personal note, replying to a query of Aparna Reddy from Hyderabad, Mr. Modi said he feels it is shortcoming that he could not make much effort to learn Tamil, the oldest language in the world. He shared a clip of Guide of the Statue of Unity, informing people in Sanskrit about the statue of Sardar Patel. He also played a clip of a cricket commentary being done in Sanskrit. The Prime Minister told that it would be a good idea to have commentaries of different sports in more languages.
हमने देखा है कि जिन खेलों में कमेंट्री समृद्ध है, उनका प्रचार प्रसार बहुत तेजी से होता है। हमारे यहाँ भी बहुत से भारतीय खेल हैं, लेकिन उनमें कमेंट्री कल्चर नहीं आया है और इस वजह से वो लुप्त होने की स्थिति में है। मेरे मन में एक विचार है, क्यों न अलग अलग स्पोर्ट्स और विशेषकर भारतीय खेलों की अच्छी कमेंट्री अधिक से अधिक भाषाओं में हो। हमें इसे प्रोत्साहित करने के बारे में जरूर सोचना चाहिए। मैं खेल मंत्रालय और प्राइवेट संस्थान के सहयोगियों से इस बारे में सोचने का आग्रह करूंगा।
The Prime Minister also touched upon the month of Magh and its spiritual social significance. He said Sant Ravidas Ji's birth anniversary falls on the very day of Magh Purnima. Mr. Modi said country's youth must learn from Sant Ravidas to not bind themselves to old methods and practices, but devise their own methods and practices.
In Man Ki Baat today, the Prime Minister mentioned about water warrior Babita Rajput from Bundelkhand region in Madhya Pradesh. Babita has thanked the Prime Minister for recognizing her efforts towards water conservation. More in this report from Bhopal.
In Agrotha village of Chhatarpur district, Babita Rajput is taking forward the efforts of reviving water bodies. Babita has formed a group, Jal Saheli, and led rural women of Bundelkhand region in diverting rainwater through channels in the hill to the pond. Babita, while speaking to AIR News, said that her happiness was doubled when the Prime Minister Narendra Modi discussed her story in Man Ki Baat.
मुझे कभी आशा नहीं थी कि मैं इतने गरीब परिवार से हूँ, मेरा नाम कभी प्रधानमंत्री लेंगे, लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री जी ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया है मेरे गांव के लिए। मैं आशा करती हूँ कि वो करें। और
Babita and her Jal Saheli group have also undertaken plantation work on a large scale in the region. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
The Prime Minister also appreciated the work of Kamraj Chaudhary, a progressive farmer from Patan district of Gujarat. Kamraj has developed good quality seeds of drumsticks, which is locally known as sargava. Thanking Prime Minister Modi for recognizing his work, Kamraj Chaudhary said drumstick farming is affordable as well as profitable since it needs less water to grow, and also there is a huge demand for drumstick in Ayurvedic medicines.
1 लाख से 1.25 लाख उत्पादन मिल जाता है। इसमें गोबर का खाद ज्यादा डालना पड़ता है और उसकी आयुर्वेदिक में बहुत मौज है। 300 प्रकार के रोग मिटाते हैं वो, और दक्षिण भारत में बहुत जाते हैं। उसका मार्केट दक्षिण भारत में, गुजरात में थोड़ा कम मिलता है, दक्षिण भारत में ज्यादा मिलता है। फ्यूचर बहुत अच्छा है। मैं आगे भी लगा रहा हूँ और मेरे पास 25 बीघा अभी चालू में है। हाँ, सरकार से बागायत में सब्सिडी मिलती है।
The Prime Minister referred to another success story of a Ladakhi farmer, Mr. Urgain Phutsong. Urgain Phutsong, with his dedication and passion for agriculture, overcame all odds to grow over 20 varieties of crops at an altitude of 14,000 feet in Gya village of Leh district. More from our Leh correspondent.
Adaptation to the circumstances and innovation to the routine agriculture work has made Urgain Phutsong a successful agriculture innovator. With the help of Krishi Vigyana Kendra and his own traditional knowledge, Urgain is successfully farming 20 varieties of crops, fruits and vegetables in Gyab village situated 70 kilometers away from Leh town on Leh-Manali National Highway. He is utilizing PM Kisan Samman Nidhi to good use to make his farms purely organic and encouraging the villagers to follow traditional organic farming techniques. Urgain Phutsong appealed to the government to help villagers to have good numbers of livestock which would facilitate villagers in becoming organic.
यहाँ पे ब्लड स्टॉक जो होता है ये बहुत बढ़िया होना चाहिए, तब ऑर्गेनिक बन सकते हैं। तो अभी जो हम जितना भी ऑर्गेनिक हो, सबसे पहले तो हमें बकरी, बिल्डू ये सब चाहिए सर। उसके बिना हमें यहाँ पे ऑर्गेनिक नहीं बन सकते। जितना भी कंसर्न डिपार्टमेंट हो तब हम ऑर्गेनिक बना सकते।
With the Mission Organic Development Initiative implementation, the administration is planning to make Ladakh agriculturally an organic state by 2025. Ramesh Chandra, All India Radio News, Leh.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Atmanirbhar Bharat is a national spirit and not just an economic campaign. In his monthly radio program Man Ki Baat, Prime Minister urges people to start a 100-day campaign for cleaning up water sources and to harvest rainwater. Prime Minister requests exam warriors, parents and teachers to share their experiences and tips for this year's Pariksha Pe Charcha in March. Prime Minister asks people to not lower guard against corona. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination phase to cover senior citizens and people above 45 years of age with comorbidities begins tomorrow. Today is National Science Day, celebrating the discovery of the Raman effect. Isro successfully launches Brazil's Amazonia 1 satellite along with 18 other passenger satellites, and in the USA, Food and Drug Administration formally approves single-shot COVID-19 vaccine. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे।
Welcome back to the Midday News. The nationwide COVID-19 vaccination drive is all set to be expanded from tomorrow to cover vulnerable age groups, which will include people above 60 years of age and those over 45 years with comorbidities. The vaccination program was launched on 16th of January, covering over 1 crore healthcare and frontline workers. The Union Health Ministry has said the facility of on-site registrations will be available so that eligible beneficiaries can walk into identified COVID vaccination centers, get themselves registered and get inoculated. The vaccine will be administered free of cost at 10,000 government hospitals to these groups, while the cost of the vaccine at around 20,000 private vaccination centers will be borne by the people. Private hospitals can charge up to 250 rupees per dose for COVID-19 vaccine during the vaccination drive. The Health Ministry has said the states have been given freedom to use all private hospitals impaneled under state government health insurance schemes as COVID vaccination centers. The states can also use health facilities of all PSUs and all government health facilities as COVID vaccination centers. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan interacted with health secretaries and mission directors of National Health Mission of states and union territories on the vaccination of age-appropriate groups. During the meeting, states were explained about the 3 methods of registration, which are advanced self-registration, on-site registration and facilitated cohort registration. More from our correspondent.
To ramp up the COVID vaccination capacity manifold, significantly large number of private facilities is being involved. Around 10,000 private hospitals impaneled under Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana (PMJAY), over 600 hospitals impaneled under CGHS, and other private hospitals impaneled under state government health insurance schemes can participate as COVID vaccination centers. Health departments of state governments have already initiated dialogue with these private hospitals so that they can be encouraged to participate in this drive. Besides, there would be government health facilities like medical college hospitals, district hospitals, sub-divisional hospitals, health sub-centers, and health and wellness centers will be used as COVID vaccination centers. Health Ministry has asked all the private health facilities which will serve as government COVID vaccination centers to follow strict norms of due process, quality and safety, including integration with the National COVID Technology Platform. All private health facilities must also have adequate space, cold chain arrangements, number of vaccinators and support staff, as well as adequate arrangements for addressing adverse events following immunization. With Divakar Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
A day before the second phase of COVID-19 vaccination for senior citizens and people above 45 years with comorbidities begins, India has achieved the milestone of administering over 1,43 lakh doses of vaccines till this morning. The recovery rate stands at 97.1% in the country. In the last 24-hour period, 11,718 people were discharged after recovery. 16,752 new cases were reported and 113 people lost their life. ICMR has informed that over 7,95,000 samples were tested for COVID-19 in the country yesterday.
Meanwhile, amid surge in COVID-19 cases in some parts of the country, Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba has asked all states and union territories not to lower their guard, to enforce COVID-appropriate behavior, and to deal firmly with violations. He reiterated that states need to maintain a continued rigorous vigil in terms of containing the spread and not squander away the gains of the collective hard work of the past year. In Maharashtra's Ratnagiri district administration has ordered to conduct 10,000 COVID tests from the 1st of March to the 10th of March. The State Minister Uday Samant said the number of vaccinations in the health department is less as compared to other departments and hence suggested to increase it to 100%. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
The famous pilgrimage to Ganpati Pule in Ratnagiri district has been cancelled due to COVID-19. On the occasion of Angarki Sankashti, which is on March 2nd, large number of devotees visit Ganpati Pule, a famous religious tourism place. However, considering the rise in cases of corona, the yatra has been cancelled. Along with the yatra, entry of devotees into the temple too has been restricted. Meanwhile, in Nanded, the police and municipal corporation officers have fined people for not wearing masks. On 8th day since lockdown, a fine of rupees 57,700 has been collected. Penalties are being levied if more than 100 invitees are spotted at wedding hall, tuition classes and hotels. Pooja Pal, AIR News, Mumbai.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has formally approved the single-shot Johnson & Johnson coronavirus vaccine. This is the third vaccine to be authorized in the country. The vaccine is said to be a cost-effective alternative to the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines and can be stored in a refrigerator instead of a freezer. The first doses could be available to the U.S. public as early as next week. India's Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle C-51, PSLV C-51 rocket, loaded with 19 satellites from Brazil, USA and India, lifted off from the rocket port at Sriharikota successfully at the precise timing of 10:24 this morning. After 4 stages of separation, the rocket launched Brazil's 637-kilogram Amazonia-1 satellite, its primary passenger.
3, 2, 1, 0. Left 5 seconds.
Majestic liftoff and the announcement of normal liftoff from the Range Operations Director.
सफलतापूर्वक उत्थापन PSLV C-51 का अपने मिशन की ओर अग्रसर.
Later, after a gap of more than an hour, it launched the remaining 18 passenger satellites. This is the first commercial mission of New Space India Limited. India's first space mission for 2021 is one of the longest for a PSLV rocket and is expected to conclude after 1 hour 55 minutes and 7 seconds into its flight. Amazonia-1 is the optical Earth observation satellite of National Institute for Space Research. Speaking after witnessing the launch, former astronaut and Minister for Science and Technology of Brazil, Marcos Cesar Porches, expressed happiness at the launch. He said that Brazil looked forward to working with India in the space field. The CMD of New Space India, G. Narayanan, said that when the rest of the world was reeling under the cloud of corona, Indian space sector awoke to the new launch of the year 2021. Lead scientist of Space Kids India, Rifat Shahrukh, told AIR that 3 scientific payloads in the Satish Dhawan satellite will monitor the ionizing radiation in the orbit to identify how radiation affects the onboard systems of the satellite during solar emission, among other things. ISRO Chairman Dr. Sivan said that Amazonia was launched at the precise orbit.
I am extremely happy to declare that PSLV C-51 successfully launched in the precise orbit of Amazonia 1 today. In this mission, India and ISRO feel extremely proud and honored and happy to launch the first satellite designed, integrated and operated by Brazil. My heartiest congratulations to the Brazilian team for this achievement.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have congratulated NSIL and ISRO on the success of Amazonia 1 mission.
In Assam, political activities are gradually gaining momentum in view of the upcoming assembly elections. BJP's National General Secretary and Lok Sabha MP Dilip Saikia said that the party would seek vote on the basis of the development works. Meanwhile, the members of Opposition Grand Alliance or Mahajot are holding a meeting in Guwahati. Issues of seat sharing and common amendment programs are being discussed in the meeting in the presence of Congress, AIUDF leaders, amongst others. National Science Day is being observed today. The day celebrates the discovery of the Raman effect, as on this day physicist C.V. Raman announced its discovery. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1930 for this discovery. The day is aimed at spreading the message of the importance of science and its application in human life. The theme for National Science Day 2021 is Future of Science and Technology and Innovation, Impact on Education Skills and Work. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has greeted the scientific community and science enthusiasts on the occasion of National Science Day.
The Prime Minister Narendra Modi today paid tributes to former Prime Minister Morarji Bhai Desai on his birth anniversary. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, in his long years of public service, Morarji Bhai Desai worked tirelessly for India's development. The Prime Minister said he was known for his impeccable integrity and unwavering commitment to democracy. Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. National capital Delhi will have clear sky this afternoon. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky with temperature varying between 21 and 37 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have partly cloudy sky. Kolkata will also have mainly clear sky. Jammu will have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was around 13 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 25 degrees. In Srinagar, there will be partly cloudy sky. Leh will have partly cloudy sky. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky. Muzaffarabad will have partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening, and in Dehradun there will be mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Chandigarh will have mainly clear sky. The temperature is likely to hover between 11 and 31 degrees Celsius. In Hyderabad, the temperature will hover between 19 and 36 degrees Celsius. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Atmanirbhar Bharat is a national spirit and not just an economic campaign. In his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat, Prime Minister urges people to start a 100-day campaign for cleaning up water sources and to harvest rainwater. Prime Minister requests exam warriors, parents and teachers to share their experiences and tips for this year's Pariksha Pe Charcha in March. Prime Minister asks people to not lower guard against corona. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination phase to cover senior citizens and people above 45 years with comorbidities begins tomorrow. Today is National Science Day, celebrating the discovery of the Raman effect. ISRO successfully launches Brazil's Amazonia 1 satellite along with 18 other passenger satellites. And in the USA, Food and Drug Administration formally approves single-shot COVID-19 vaccine. And with that, we end the Midday News.